In this section, we'll learn about producing baked products. It's time to get into the kitchen now. Let's see what shall we learn in this section. There are various methods of mixing and preparing the batter for cake, such as the creaming method, the two-stage method, the sponge method, the chiffon method, and the angel food method. Let's explore them one by one. Click on the method name to learn about it. The creaming method is the standard method used for making butter cakes. In this method, the first step is to prepare the ingredients and the equipment. For this, measure all the ingredients and allow them to come at room temperature. Now, sift all of your dry ingredients together. Prepare your baking pans by greasing them. The next step is to cream the butter and sugar until the mixture becomes light and fluffy. This will take about 3 to 4 minutes. Add the eggs in the creamed butter and sugar mixture one at a time. After each egg is added, mix until it is completely absorbed into the mixture before adding the next one. The mixture will look light and fluffy once the eggs are mixed in. Now, we start by adding dry and wet ingredients alternatively. Adding some of the dry ingredients to start will help the batter absorb the wet ingredients and will prevent overdeveloping the gluten. We can add the dry ingredients in 4 increments and the wet ingredients in 3 increments. While doing so, make sure the ingredients are fully absorbed before we add the next one. Finally, the cake is ready to be baked. The two-stage method derives its name from its procedure of adding liquid in 2 stages. For this, first of all, we preheat the oven to 175 degrees Celsius and grease 2 8-inch round pans. Then pour the milk, egg whites, and extracts into a measuring cup and mix with a fork until combined. In another mixing bowl, mix the flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. After blending, add the butter and continue to mix. Now, add all in one bowl and start mixing. After a few minutes, stop the mixer and scrape the sides of the bowl. Beat for a final time on medium-high speed for another 20 seconds. Then divide the batter evenly between the 2 pans and spread the batter with a spatula to smooth the tops. Finally, the mixture is ready for bake. Bake the cake for about 30 minutes. The sponge method is also called the foaming method. In this, first mix sugar, eggs and salt in a bowl. Then place the bowl on top of a double boiler and warm the mixture to 43 degrees Celsius. Whip the mixture till it is light and foamy. Then add the milk or water to the mixture. Next, fold in the flour without collapsing the foam in batches till all the flour is added in. Last, transfer the batter to a baking pan and bake immediately to get the cake ready. The chiffon cake recipes are broken down into 3 main parts, which are dry ingredients, wet ingredients, and the meringue. In the first step, we combine cake flour with baking powder, baking soda, salt, and sugar. After this, the next step is to combine the wet ingredient, which includes egg yolks and oil or other liquid fat. Now, whisk the wet ingredients together and set them aside until you are ready to combine all of the components. After it is done, we will proceed to the next step, which is to prepare the meringue. Folding the meringue, made of egg whites and sugar, is the most delicate step in making chiffon cake. We should fold gently, otherwise the batter will deflate. The next step is to combine the 3 components. Stir the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients until they combined. Then add about half cup of the egg whites and stir them completely into the batter. Once the mixture is thoroughly mixed, the cake is ready to bake. In the angel food method, preheat the oven to 175 degrees Celsius. Set 1 cup of sugar set aside. Then mix sugar, salt, cake flour together. Next, thoroughly combine egg whites, water, orange extracts and cream of tartar. After 2 minutes, switch to a hand mixer. Slowly sift the reserved sugar, beating continuously at medium speed. Using a spatula, fold in gently. Carefully spoon the mixture into an ungreased tube pan. Bake for 35 minutes. Cool upside down on a cooling rack for at least an hour before removing from the pan. Now, let's understand the process of preparing mold batter for cakes. First of all, grease the molds and dust with flour. Don't grease the molds excessively as it may have a frying effect at the bottom of the cake. Now, turn the molds upside down and tap gently to remove excess flour. Next, put the batter in the molds. Take care that you pour the batter in large portions, as adding batter in smaller portions can lead to the creation of air pockets, which will create holes in the cake. Fill only 2/3 part of the molds so that there is enough space for the cake to expand. Now, your mold is ready. Bread or cake once prepared is then baked in various types of oven with varying time and temperatures as required by the recipe and type of product. It is important to not over or under bake either in terms of time or temperature. Most bread, depending on their type, are baked from 175 degrees Celsius to 220 degrees Celsius. We should take care of a few things before baking, such as make sure to preheat the oven before baking. This ensures the product evenly gets the right temperature for the right time. Also, make sure the oven and shelves are leveled. This will avoid batter to slide and get collected on one side and prevent uneven thickness. We should not open the oven before it has set, as this may lead to cooling and collapsing of cake. Do not handle the pan before it is set, as this too may cause collapse. We should always bake at the correct temperature. The too high temperature will cause the cake to set before it has risen. Too low temperatures will result in poor volume and texture. Let us check some videos to revise the complete baking process. Click on the tabs to start the video. Although cooling is a self-explanatory concept, it involves a lot of science. The main goal of cooling is to decrease the internal temperature of the baked cake from 93 to 97 degrees Celsius to 32 to 43 degrees Celsius. This step allows the finished product to achieve optimum keeping quality and comply with the legal moisture limit of 38%. We can achieve cooling either manually or automatically. Manually means by placing on cooling racks after deepening. Automatically means using racks, trays and machines. There is another method used for cooling called the vacuum cooling. In this, we use a pump to remove the gases and water vapor from the cooling chamber, creating a partial vacuum or zone of very low manometric pressure. This accelerates the vaporizing of free moisture from the product. The process of packaging depends upon the type of the product and purpose. For example, bread may be sliced or unsliced depending on the type of bread and purpose. A cake may also be sliced before packaging. We can use slicing machines are used for slicing bread for evenness. 2. Depending upon the quantity, we may manually pack the final product using different packaging materials, or we may also use a packaging machine. While packaging, we should bear in mind that there should be no moisture inside the packaging. We should cool the product properly before packaging to avoid moisture. First of all, we need to understand the dough preparation process for the preparation of bread. Bread is prepared from a dough of flour, yeast and water, usually by baking. Ingredients that are usually found in bread are flour, salt, sugar, yeast, fat, water or other liquids such as milk powder, milk, etc. Other ingredients are used in bread are calcium propionate, bread improvers. Calcium propionate is a preservative that contains propionic acid. It works against spore-forming bacteria and decreases the chance of spoilage. Bread improvers reduce the time that the bread takes to rise during fermentation, but also improves its texture and volume. With this, we conclude the section where we learned about producing baked products.